254 Chiswick Village, Chiswick, London, October 26, 1940. Dear Mary Elizabeth, was very glad to hear from you again. I haven't been too prompt in replying. So you passed your driving test, as you say. You and your girlfriend share in the vacation driving? Glad to know you had a nice time during vacation. And that you waited in America this year. I guess you'll be wondering how things are here in London. And I might as well start in right now and tell. This is Saturday night, but all nights are alike now. Home from work, eat, and in most cases down to the shelters to sleep. As it gets early dark, so do the sirens sound early. At this moment the AA guns are booming, cracking, and echoing to beat the band. But the sound you're becoming accustomed to, and to find a certain measure of comfort in the knowledge that the Nazi airmen above are menaced by the shells. During daytime, little or no attention is paid to the sirens, and only the time we stop work and go to the shelters is when the spotters warn us that the enemy planes are in the vicinity. At that we lose very little time now. In the daytime, we know that our RAF men and machiners will soon take care of the Nazi planes nearby. Nighttime is different, but I must say that for the past 10 nights things certainly have quieted down. Before that it was just plain murder, absolutely no attempt made to bomb military objectives. This form of terrorism is attached to a parachute so you can figure out how far a huge bomb will drift, as the parachute is at the mercy of the prevailing air currents. Only one man killed and 12 injured when the landmine exploded. That was a miracle, for windows were blown out over a half-mile away. I've seen friends' houses ruined, people homeless, children orphaned. Yes, and even worse, but Mary, I tell you in all truth, the people carry on as usual. It's astounding to me, who has known so many different nationalities, to witness the calm manner in which the Londoner goes about his business. As for the women of London, well, I cannot find words to express my admiration for them. They take the whole business so matter-of-fact, and each one, to me, is a heroine. I certainly never imagined for 1 minute that the good, simple, mild, peace-loving people of England would stand up for such terror without quaking, but my thoughts have been all wrong. At work, I can vouch for the absence of about 3 to 4% due to bombing. This also includes the hazards of traveling, as every other day they may have to change their route due to delayed action bombs, etc. What scares people the most is the shrapnel from our AA guns of the barrage. So to get home before the barrage starts, now they can come to work an hour early in the morning. Of course, you must not think from the above news that all we think about is bombing, because I think the saving grace of all these folks is the humor, and to hear a couple of men swap bomb stories in the bus is usually very amusing, especially if the bus conductor chimes in. You will note by the address that I have moved again. My brother bought a house during the summer up in Scotland, so they are all up there now. I was very fortunate to rent a furnished apartment on the ground floor. And believe me, ground floors are much sought after these days, as the blast is always much worse the higher up you go. That's why the shelters beneath the ground are safe from everything but a direct hit. I boarded up the bedroom and bathroom windows to prevent accident by flying glass. Approximately 50% of casualties are caused by flying glass, and sleep in a small single bed some nights when things are busy up above. I tumble in with most of my clothes on, so as to be ready for an emergency. I'd done my good deed one night. A crude oil bomb landed about 40 feet over the back entrance. I looked out and saw a fire, and soon had all the amateur firefighters on the job. We keep pails of water and sand ready for the incendiaries. You never get used to the whistle of the bombs as they come down. My stomach usually turns over once, as I'm no hero. When I hear a whistle crunch, whistle crunch, whistle crunch, all the time wondering, is the next time going to be for your neighborhood? It's amazing how you adapt yourself. When you hear anything come down, you immediately flop belly down until the bomb ceases. Then you rise up and find that your legs are quite shaky. After a night of what you think must be the razing of all the nearby buildings, you go out to work and find no different. The buildings as usual, the buses running, the men and women cycling to work. Then you feel a bit ashamed of your terror of the previous night. The work is still keeping busy, and our production has regained its fine state again. After a few weeks, drop at the beginning of the bombing. The other day, I was reasoned to go into London and went down by the House of Parliament and saw the damage done by the bombing, which landed outside the entrance opposite to Westminster Abbey. Both buildings had windows blown out or in, and the stonework was scarred, but the bomb fragments. But as to the real damage, well, it would take many thousands of such bombs to make any dent into such edifices. Even if the outside crumble, the soul is still there. London is like an experienced old lady, which has raised a very large family, brought her children through teething, measles, whooping cough, etc., then guiding them up to manhood, and has become so used to the troubles of one kind or another, that when a new trouble hits the family, she may be disconcerted for a short time, but very soon she fixes it up in her own way, and she continues down the street, basket in arm, in her casual, imperturbable manner. Damage to our war effort has been almost negligible, as all the bombing that I have seen has been non-military objects. No, I forget. The railway nearby where I live got a direct hit, but in no time repairs had the trains running as usual. As you know from my letters and conversations last year, I wasn't exactly in love with London and its people. I think the people are great, and as for old London, why, it's a swell place. I'm certainly proud to know London and its people. The war has taught me the fact that I only thought I knew them. Food, clothing, etc. It's still abundant, and prices are a little altered. I would ask a favor of you again, about the magazine you sent. I managed to buy a copy here at one of the station stands, but they cannot guarantee it every month. So if you can get it and send it on to me, I'll sure appreciate it. Aviation, it was called. America is doing great work supplying us with armaments. And when we get enough planes, they will certainly give the Nazis hell and believe the right man in Winston Churchill to lead us on. The victory will be sooner if we get more planes quickly. You folks in America have shown fine spirit in helping us, especially with the 50 destroyers. The people here were delighted about that. There seems to be much better understanding between the ordinary people of both our nations now than has ever been, and personally nothing suits me better, for I'm always telling my friends here how regular the American people are. The main theme of this letter is to let the outside world in the shape of yourself know how much I honor and admire the Londoners for the manner in which they carry on day by day, why Hitler does his damnedest to paralyze and terrorize the city of the people of London. If this is his method of winning the war, then he has already lost it. Best regards to your parents, and I hope you are keeping well and busy. Sincerely yours, Tom.